The Special Anti-Terror Detachment 88 at the National Police Headquarters, the 22nd of January 2023, arrested a suspected terrorist with the initials OR, 39, in Yogyakarta. OR is suspected of being an ISIS sympathizer who often uploads propaganda pictures and videos on social media. From searching AW's house, the police also secured 2 homemade bombs. OR, who was arrested, is a recidivist drug case. OR is likely to get an understanding of terrorism at the Nusa Kambangan Penitentiary. It is possible that OR was recruited by a network that was in the same cell as the suspect while in Nusa Kambangan. Previously, the police arrested 3 terrorist suspects in the Jakarta and South Tangerang, Tangsel, areas on Friday, the 20th of January 2023. The 3 terrorist suspects arrested had the initials as ARH and SN. The US originates from the Indonesian Islamic State terror network. Meanwhile, the other 2 suspects are from community organizations that have been declared banned in Indonesia. ARH was arrested in South Jakarta and SN was arrested in South Tangerang. Both are on the wanted list for March 2021 arrests from the Condit FPI group.
The smooth running of the acting governor of Jakarta, Heru Budi Hartono, in completing the Ciliwung River East Flood Canal project received praise from President Joko Widodo. However, the continuation of the construction of the canal, which has been stalled for 6 years, cannot be separated from the help of the central government. Later it was discovered that the provincial government of Jakarta had not allocated any funds for land acquisition for the Ciliwung River Canal. President Jokowi also admitted that he was surprised by the speed of the land acquisition process after inspecting the Ciliwung Canal project on Tuesday, the 24th of January 2023. In fact, said Jokowi, the construction of the Ciliwung Canal had been stalled for 6 years. Heru himself only took office in mid-October. The Ciliwung River Channel has been in the public spotlight because it has been idle for 6 years. There were a number of obstacles that stopped the Ciliwung Canal project, but the most dominant one was the case of land acquisition. The Ciliwung Canal project is one of several flood control projects in the downstream area of Jakarta. Meanwhile, in the upstream, the government is building 2 dams at once, namely the Ciawi Dam and the Sukamahi Dam, which have been operating since the end of 2022 yesterday. The Minister of Public Works and Spatial Planning stated that there has been no significant progress in the normalization project for the Ciliwung River and the Ciliwung River Channel East Flood Canal, which has been running for 6 years. In fact, the 2 projects can reduce flooding in the capital city if done consistently. The panel of judges at the South Jakarta District Court on the 24th of January 2023 sentenced the founder and former president of the Aksi Sipat Tanggap Foundation, ACT, Ahudin, to 3 years and 6 months in prison. And the president of the ACT Foundation for the 2019 to 2022 period, Ibnu Karja, to 3 years in prison. They were legally and convincingly proven guilty of embezzling social assistance funds for the families of victims of the Lion Air Boeing 737 MAX 8 plane crash with flight number JT610. The aid fund dedicated to the families of the victims of the Lion Air plane crash was only implemented in the amount of 20.5 billion Indonesian rupiahs by the ACT Foundation. Meanwhile, hundreds of billions of funds have been used by the defendants not in accordance with the implementation agreed with Boeing. In fact, these hundreds of billions of funds were provided by Boeing for the benefit of building social facilities as specified in the Boeing Community Investment Fund, BCIF, protocol.
The city of Manado, North Sulawesi, was hit by a flood on Friday, the 27th of January 2023. The flooding that occurred this time was due to rain with heavy intensity that has been flushing Manado since early Friday morning. Until noon, heavy rain still flushed the Manado area. Rain accompanied by strong winds also had an impact on flights at Manado's Sam Ratchalingi International Airport. Based on information gathered temporarily, there were 7 flights that had to be delayed or the departure postponed, and 3 flights that were diverted due to bad weather. As many as 5 people were killed in floods and landslides in Manado City. Among them, 1 victim died due to flooding, and landslides claimed the lives of 4 others.
The Attorney General's Office of the Republic of Indonesia stated that it would submit an appeal against the verdict handed down to the defendant in the alleged fraud and embezzlement case of the Indosurya Cipta Savings and Loans Cooperative, Henry Surya. It is known that the West Jakarta District Court panel of judges acquitted, the 24th of January 2023, Henry Surya because he was deemed to have committed a civil act, not a criminal one. The judge also ordered that the defendant Henry Surya be immediately released from the Salemba Detention Center at the Attorney General's branch after the verdict was made. A week earlier, Indosurya's Director of Finance, Cipta June Indria, was also acquitted, the 17th of January 2023, because he was deemed not guilty of alleged fraud against customers. The Coordinating Minister for Political, Legal and Security Affairs Mahfud MD said the government would open a new case regarding the fraudulent investment case of the Indosurya Savings and Loans Cooperative. Moreover, according to him, there are still many victims of the Indosurya fraud case so that new cases can be opened. This was conveyed by Mahfud after a coordination meeting at his office with the Attorney General's Office, Polri, the 27th of January 2023. As previously reported, the Attorney General's Office also considered that the verdicts given by the panel of judges to the 2 defendants in the Indosurya bogus investment case hurt the victims' sense of justice. In this case, the Attorney General's Office said that there were 23,000 Indosurya customers who were victims with losses reaching 106 trillion Indonesian rupiahs.
The suicide bombing at a Pakistani mosque, the 30th of January 2023, brought a growing number of dead. The number of pilgrims who died has reached 100 people. Most of those killed in the explosion at the Pakistani mosque in the provincial capital Peshawar this time were police. Pakistan's Home Minister told the National Assembly of Pakistan that the dead included 97 police officers and 3 civilians. Meanwhile, as many as 27 victims were reportedly still in critical condition. The mosque is indeed located in a heavily guarded police station complex. Police are said to be investigating how the bomber got in. Several suspects have been arrested in connection with Monday's suicide bomb blast at a mosque in the northern Pakistani city of Peshawar. More arrests will be made after a major police investigation into the attack which injured 217 other people.